Now, if I had to choose between regular pasta and gnocchi, I would always pick gnocchi. And the way I like it is in this vibrant green pesto sauce. So today, let's learn how to make gnocchi pesto. And let me just be clear, this is not an easy recipe. It doesn't take 5 minutes to make. There are a few steps involved, but I'm telling you, anyone can make this and it will turn out fantastic. One beautiful bite into this and you will definitely sing Mamma Mia! Okay, let's begin. So I've got some older potatoes over here. Try to use older potatoes because the moisture content will be lesser. Just wash them up nicely. Ideally, I would want to just roast this in the oven till it's cooked. But I understand that not everyone has an oven, so this can also be pressure cooked, but just keep the skin on. So into a pressure cooker, some water, add the potatoes, add a good amount of salt, and this pressure cooks for at least 7 to 8 whistles. But make sure to check it after 5 to 6 whistles so that they don't overcook and just break up in the water, because in that way it will absorb a lot of extra moisture from the water, which is something we're trying to avoid. As you can see, these are perfectly done. I'm just going to take this off into a bowl and just let them cool down a little bit. We need to start and mash them up when the potatoes are hot. So while the potatoes have cooled down just a little bit, I'm going to peel off the skin. Now you can mash it using this potato ricer which I have got, or you can even use a simple strainer along with the glass. And if you don't even have that, you can just use a simple grater. But make sure there are no lumps in the potato. Mash them up really nice and well. And now into this, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. Some refined flour, some salt, and some crushed black pepper, along with half an egg. Now you can skip the egg completely and just add a little more flour. The egg just helps in the binding. The amount of flour you're going to add to this might change depending on the moisture levels in the potato. So if you feel it's a little too wet, you can add a little more flour and just shape this into a dough. I'm going to dust a little flour on the outside so that it just stays nice and dry. And that's about it. This is ready to be shaped. I'm going to take a small portion of the gnocchi dough and then we're just going to roll this out into a log. It's about half an inch in diameter. You can make them bigger or slightly smaller depending on how you like them. Now you can use a fork to shape these, but I feel this method of just cutting them into small pillows like this is easier and saves a lot of time and doesn't actually affect the texture of the gnocchi. So cut them into small pillows like this. Now to cook them, we're just going to heat up some water along with some salt. Once you add the gnocchi to the boiling water, just reduce the heat to a simmer and it just takes about 2 minutes. You know it's done when the potatoes actually rise to the surface. At this point, you can just drain the gnocchi and just let them cool off. You can store them once they have cooled down in the fridge and use it whenever you want. I'm also going to be reserving some of that pasta water, which we will use while finishing the gnocchi pesto. So now let's move on to the next step, which is making the basil pesto. Fresh basil leaves, very easily available in the market. I'm just going to shock these in ice water so that they become really nice and crisp. The cold water will crisp up the leaves, which will really help while blending them. I'm going to keep them in the ice water just for 5 minutes. After that, just drain it off. Then spread it out on a kitchen towel and just gently we're going to pat this dry. We're going to take out as much of that excess water and just pat it nicely dry. And now we're ready to blend it. So in the mixer grinder goes in all the basil leaves, then goes in some pine nuts. If you can't find pine nuts, try to use walnuts. You can even use almonds or you can use cashews as well. Next goes in some chopped garlic along with some Parmesan cheese. Now if this is slightly out of your budget, you can use like a drier cheddar cheese, or you can even use the powdered Parmesan, which is very easily available in the market and it's much cheaper than fresh Parmesan cheese. Next goes in some lemon juice. Season it well with some salt and crushed black pepper. Next we're going to add just half of that extra virgin olive oil. The rest of the oil we're just going to drizzle it while it's blending. So while it's blending, I'm just going to pour in that extra virgin olive oil. Consistency I'm going for is slightly smoother than traditional pesto, but you can take a call on how smooth or coarse you want it. And finally, a beautiful green and delicious pesto is ready. You can store these in airtight containers in the fridge. Just make sure you have a little layer of oil on the tops, which will prevent the pesto from oxidizing. And this too can be made beforehand and just kept in the fridge. Finally, when we're ready, we're just going to take a saucepan, nice deep saucepan or frying pan. We're going to set this at really gentle heat, but we're not going to add the pesto first to it. The first thing that we're going to add to this is some of that pasta water which we had reserved. Because if we add the pesto directly to the pan, the pesto will start to heat up and the beautiful green color will be lost. So mix some of the pasta water along with the pesto, get it to a really nice and gentle boil. Into this, we're going to add the gnocchi pieces now, and then we're just going to simmer this for at least a minute or two. Don't forget to season it with some salt and pepper. Just taste the pasta before you add the fresh cream. Once you add the cream, we're just going to reduce this till you can see that nice shiny coating happening all over the gnocchi. Now how saucy you want this, I'm going to leave that up to you. I don't want too much sauce into this. I'm just going to take this, serve it onto a plate. Finally, some Parmesan cheese on top of it. That is the recipe, my friends. Now I know not everyone is going to try this, but this is a recipe you can just save and keep. You never know when you need a recipe for a good gnocchi pesto. this is just perfect. And if you watched the video till here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, like the video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.